Chapter 13. Alexis twisted and turned most of the night. I wished she'd talk to me and tell me what was going through her head, but, as usual, she shut down. I turned onto my side and slid my arm beneath her pillow. Finding her hand, I laced my fingers with hers and nuzzled the back of her neck.
"I love you,"
she said. "Are you okay?"
"Fine. Go back to sleep."
I closed my eyes, but I didn't sleep. Instead, I waited for her to settle. Eventually, the grip she had on my hand loosened, and some of the tension left her shoulders. I spotted the clock on the nightstand. It was almost 5. Luckily, I hadn't set my alarm on account of vacation, and since she'd closed her last case, she didn't have to report to cross-security either. Finally, we could sleep. When I woke up, it was almost 10. Normally, I didn't sleep in, but this week had caught up to me. I blinked the sleep from my eyes, finding my shoulders stiff, like it was most mornings. Maybe I'd go for a run on the treadmill to loosen up before lifting weights. I hadn't lifted heavy in a while. I'd been focused mostly on body weight workouts and light weights, hoping to lose some of the bulk I'd put on when I'd been more serious about training and proving to Alex I could take care of myself. But that ship had sailed, and I could afford a bit more room in my dress shirts. But today, I felt like lifting. Before I could get out of bed, she rolled over and pressed herself against my chest, burying her face against me. I wrapped my arms around her and closed my eyes. I didn't have to get out of bed yet. 40 minutes later, she let out a sigh. "Morning, beautiful," I said, running my fingers through her hair. "How'd you sleep?"
"Okay."
She stretched, her hands sliding over my stomach and tickling me.
"What time is it?"
10:30.
"Shouldn't you have been up hours ago?"
"I'm on vacation, remember?"
"You don't know how to vacation."
"Neither do you," I quipped. "But sleeping in is usually a good start, and I have an entire day of activities planned for us."
"How about we stay in bed until next year?"
"Mark's coming over tomorrow," I reminded her. "He'll break the door down if we don't let him in."
"Okay. I propose a compromise. You like those?"
I smiled. "It depends. What do you have in mind?"
"We don't get out of bed until Mark knocks down the door."
"Sweetheart," I said patiently, fearing my carefully laid plans were about to go up in flames. "What's wrong? You were fine until we went to the O'Connells."
"You know what's wrong. You know what happened."
"You saved Nick's niece. The family's grateful. They love you. I don't see what the problem is."
"I almost got her killed. You must remember what happened. The things I did."
She sighed.
"I'd do it all again. I'm not saying I wouldn't. But I hadn't thought about any of that in a long time, and I knew they'd be there, and I knew it'd come up, but I wasn't expecting it to be like this. I didn't think a win like that would do this to me."
"That's because you have a conscience." I kissed her hair. "You have to focus on the good. You saved that little girl. Without you, that family would have been ripped apart. You made the difference. You kept their world from crashing down around them."
"I know. And I'm so glad I was able to help. That's not the problem. It was me. The things I did."
She swallowed.
"We tortured someone. Julian and his team. They had to pull me out. They had to stop me before I crossed a line. I was so close to the edge on that."
Everyone was. I remembered everything she told me at the time. When it happened, she wasn't as torn up as she was now. But 20/20 hindsight changed things. Her opinion on Julian Mercer had changed. and revisiting the past made her reassess everything. I should have realized that would happen, but it had been a while since she'd fallen down a rabbit hole. But I still had hoped she'd bounce back in time for today's festivities. String bikini? She snorted.
I forgot about that.
I didn't. I brushed her hair out of her face and tucked it behind her ear before tracing the shell with my finger, enjoying the way she shivered against me. That's the first time we made love in the pool.
How do you remember these things?
I remember every time with you. Because I did. She sat up so she could look at me.
I don't deserve you.
Instead of a serious response, I tried a teasing one, hoping it'd pull her out of her funk. Truthfully, no one's worthy of this level of perfection, but you come the closest. A smile tugged at her lips.
Is that so?
Uh-huh. I put my hands behind my head and yawned. It's been very lonely here at the top, but you found me. Can't imagine my life without you.
You need more sleep.
Coffee would be better. I propped myself up on my elbows. How about I bring you breakfast in bed?
I'm not hungry.
She stared out the window. You want to go for a run?
It's too cold.
We have 2 treadmills in this house. We can race. I could see she wasn't interested, so I upped the ante. Or are you afraid you won't be able to hold your own in the face of utter perfection?
Jeez.
She met my eyes. All I could see were clouds of sadness in those blue depths.
You're not going to give that up unless I make you eat those words.
That's right. She sighed.
I hate you sometimes.
It's only because I love you so much.
Maybe you should love me less.
Not possible. I climbed out of bed and opened the dresser, tossing her favorite crop tank top and running tights to her. Winner decides what we do the rest of the day and night.
You're that confident you'll win?
She asked. In case you haven't heard, sweetheart, I always win. Chapter 14. I hadn't counted on her determination to win just so she could spend the rest of the day in bed, and she hadn't expected me to put up such a fight since, most times, I had no objection to finding ways to cheer her up in bed. But I had other things in mind, and we'd have plenty of time to hide away from the world after the holidays were over. But our treadmill race had left her wiped, and since we were supposed to go skating later, I had to rearrange the day's itinerary to give her some recovery time. Breakfast is served. I put an omelet down in front of her, steam rising from the plate. Careful, it's hot. I put a tray of pancakes beside it, which I decorated with strawberries and whipped cream to look like little Santa hats. She ate the pancakes while she waited for the eggs to cool. How did Nick and Jen know to get us cooking lessons? I'd think Nick would have gotten you something else, I mused.
Like what? A gift certificate to the range?
Maybe.
They wanted to get us a present. Nick warned me about it, figuring Jen would pick out something I'd hate, like salsa lessons. So I told him cooking lessons. I know you're already a fabulous cook, but I thought you'd enjoy them. If you don't want them, you can donate them to one of your charity auction things.
No, I love them. And I did. I just thought they'd want to get you something special. She waved her fork toward the living room.
You weren't paying attention last night. Everything in those gift bags is something special for me from members of Nick's family. I've never met his mom or dad before, but they gave me these extravagant gifts.
Curious, I got up to check the bags. Do you mind?
Of course not,
she said. I looked inside each of the bags, finding a designer handbag, a crystal decanter, and a very nice throw with an equally nice candle.
Look inside the purse.
I unzipped the bag, finding balled-up dollar bills instead of stuffing. Wow.
Yeah,
She put her silverware down.
that's why I wanted to get out of there. It was overwhelming.
That was yesterday. Today, it's just us. You and I are going to celebrate. It'll be low-key.
You never do anything low-key.
Well, it'll just be us. How does that sound? She looked relieved.
Better?
Great. I started to clear the table, and she got up to help, but I could see she was still tired from her restless night and our run. After performing a few quick calculations in my head, I said, I found some animated holiday movies I used to love as a kid. How about we stretch out on the couch and watch them for a while?
That sounds good.
We finished cleaning the kitchen, and Alex sprawled out on the couch. Instead of watching the 6 I selected, we ended up watching several others the streaming service recommended based on our viewing habits. The bright colors and cartoon voices pulled her out of her depressed state. She sat on the edge of the couch, watching the last one.
How have I never seen this? I watch movies all the time, plenty of family-friendly TV. Can't believe I missed these specials every year. They do show them every year, right?
Pretty much, I said. My guess would be you work too much. I'm surprised you never saw them as a kid.
TV watching wasn't encouraged.
She tried to grab the remote, but I held it out of reach. We can watch more later, but we're going to be late if we don't leave now.
Late for what?
I smiled. It's a surprise. Chapter 15. The rink was empty. The sun had set, and the entire ice skating rink was lit up with a combination of spotlights and Christmas lights. Alex stared up at the massive tree before taking in the rest of the iconic scene around us.
I can't believe you rented this out just for us.
It's only for a couple of hours, but I figured you must not have ever gone ice skating either.
I picked it up in my teens,
she said, joining me on a bench to lace her skates.
Let me guess, you played ice hockey in high school.
Not exactly.
So you were a figure skater?
I laughed. When have you ever seen me wear sequins? She mulled it over.
That's a good point.
However, I said, I do enjoy skating. Every year when we took our annual ski trip, there would always be a nearby ice rink. I'd spend hours there when I wasn't on the slopes. I stood, testing out the skates before spinning in a circle and offering Alex a hand up. She let me pull her up. At first, she was wobbly, but within 2 minutes she had found her footing. The way she moved on the ice reminded me of a dancer, but I kept that thought to myself. When we stopped to take a break, I led her to one of the waiting food trucks. I thought you might want to warm up. She gave me that look, which said she thought I'd gone overboard.
Forget WA. We're going to find you a shopaholics meeting to go to.
But that didn't stop her from sampling each of the 4 varieties of soup I'd pre-selected. Afterward, we skated some more, talking while we digested. Once our late liquid lunch had settled, I found a few hockey sticks and a puck, and we played our own version of one-on-one until our time ran out.
This was fun,
she said.
But we could have done this with other people around. You don't have to be such a snob.
I saw the teasing sparkle in her eyes. I didn't want to make the rest of the world feel bad when they couldn't keep up with us.
Neither of us are going to the Olympics anytime soon. I'm sure the rest of the world would have been fine ignoring us.
Fine. Next year, we'll try this again when the rink is so crowded you can't move.
Point taken.
She unlaced her skates and put her stylish ankle boots back on. She shivered, and I tried to hide my grin. Do you want more soup or a fancy coffee concoction? She looked at the other waiting food truck.
You are definitely going to a meeting after this.
Hey, we've never done the holidays upright. I wanted to make up for all those missed opportunities. I led her to the waiting coffee truck and ordered her an extra large white chocolate mocha with whipped cream and chocolate sprinkles. I went with a large Americana with a splash of Irish cream. She licked the whipped cream off her lips and eyed my drink.
That's your drink of choice?
It's what my mom used to get us every year when she took me Christmas shopping. It's my own tradition.
I figured you for a peppermint mocha or gingerbread latte guy.
She crinkled her nose playfully.
That's what your blazer suggested.
I'm glad I'm not completely predictable.
You're anything but,
she said, moving closer to steal a kiss.
This was nice. Thank you.
Oh, we're not done yet. I handed her my coffee. Stay here. I want to grab something from the car. After tucking the carrots and bag of sliced apples into my pockets, I returned and reclaimed my beverage. She eyed me suspiciously, wondering why I'd gone to the car. Wrapping my arm around her, I led her toward the street and our waiting carriage. Marcal and I were having a debate the other day, and I'm hoping you can clear something up for me. What do you think of horses?
Martin, I was only joking. Please don't tell me you bought me a pony.
Maybe next year.
I don't want a pony,
she repeated. Okay, but how do you feel about horses?
They're bigger than ponies, and you'd have to get stables and someone to take care of them, and I don't know how to ride. I've never wanted to ride.
That's because you're a control freak. It's the same reason you're opposed to self-driving cars.
That is not why I'm opposed to self-driving cars,
she said. I laughed. Sweetheart, I didn't buy you a horse or a pony. Just reach into my pocket.
So we can get arrested for indecent behavior?
Yes, that's exactly what I had planned for the rest of our night. She spotted the horse-drawn carriage half a block away.
You son of a bitch!
But I heard the giddiness in her voice, and then I felt her leg bump against mine.
Is that a carrot in your pocket, or are you excited to see me?
I thought we could feed the horses before we have them take us on a tour to see the sights. She smiled, happier and more excited than I'd seen her in a long time. I hoped it wasn't from the sugar and caffeine in the coffee.
You really can't help yourself with this gift-giving thing, can you?
Well, if you don't want to. She narrowed her eyes at me.
I want to.
We approached, and I introduced myself to the man in charge. After the two horses, Clyde and Cletus, were fed, and Alex had spent longer than I thought petting them, we climbed into the back. A thick faux fur blanket was waiting, which I draped over us. Alex rested her head against my shoulder, while I pointed out different lights and window decorations and told her what they had looked like in years past. She sipped her coffee and snuggled against me.
You didn't have to do this,
she said. You've never had a real holiday. It's about time someone changed that. Afterward, we went to the restaurant and sat at the chef's table for dinner.
Is this what it was always like for you?
She asked. Sometimes. Normally everything didn't get crammed into one day, but we were short on time. And I wanted you to experience everything. Consider this your present.
I'm an adult, Martin. I'm not a kid. You didn't have to do any of this. But thank you for the perfect night.
I thought about the gifts waiting at home. The night's not over yet. Chapter 16. When we got home, I found a place to tie the bow, put on the blazer, and waited for her to open the lingerie. She gave me an all-too-familiar look.
Pervert.
Try it on, I insisted. She picked up the teddy and pushed the remaining gift boxes out of my reach.
Fine, but that means I'm the only gift you're unwrapping tonight. Are you sure you want to do that, handsome?
She nodded toward 2 waiting boxes with my name on them. One was wallet-sized, and the other was deeper than a shirt box, but roughly the same length and width. "You're the only thing I want."
"Okay."
She disappeared down the hall. Grabbing the bottle of champagne, which had been chilling in the fridge, and 2 glasses, I spotted a can of whipped cream and some strawberries, placed everything on a tray, and followed her up the stairs. Happy holidays to me.
"Mark's going to be here any minute,"
Alex said, collecting glasses and the emptied whipped cream can.
"Why did we wait so long to clean up?"
I gave her a lazy grin. "We had a busy morning."
"Deviant."
"You loved every minute."
"That's because you've corrupted me."
She picked up our discarded garments from the floor and the red ribbon hanging from the lamp and tossed them in the hamper.
"Mark does not need to know about any of this."
"Why would I tell him about this?" I asked while I pulled on a green sweater over my distressed jeans. My hair was still wet from our shower, so I put some gel in it to keep it from going crazy once it dried, and pulled her into my arms when she moved past me and kissed along her neck.
"He's your best friend."
She appeared impervious to my mouth, so I'd have to try harder to distract her.
"You tell him all sorts of things you shouldn't."
"I won't tell him about this," I said. "There's a line."
"Good."
I nibbled her ear, which made her squirm, and she shrugged away from me. Giving up, I helped her straighten up our bedroom, even though there was a 0% chance Mark would be going in our bedroom, and then I went downstairs to get brunch ready. I made his favorites and an egg white omelet with spinach and tomatoes for Alex. "Mimosa?" I asked.
"We should wait for Mark,"
she said. So I left the champagne on ice and put the orange juice back in the fridge. In between making French toast and crisping turkey bacon, I watched Alex investigate the remaining stack of gifts. I had saved the safe gifts for her to open today, figuring while Mark was here we might want to work on a jigsaw puzzle or play a board game.
"Ha!"
she said, finding the DVD box I'd semi-attempted to hide inside the entertainment center.
"I found it."
"Found what?" I asked innocently.
"Die Hard."
"Oh." She narrowed her eyes.
"You promised we could watch it."
"Did I?"
"Martin."
The doorbell rang, saving me from having to come up with something clever. A few seconds later, I heard Mark Jablonski's voice. He came in wearing a red sweater with white snowflakes and green trees. At least he understood the ugly sweater concept. "Happy holidays, Marty!" Mark placed a champagne bucket, which doubled as a gift basket, on my kitchen counter. It contained a poinsettia and an assortment of gourmet holiday cookies. "I never know what to get you, so I hope you can use this." I glanced at Alex. "We could always use an extra champagne bucket." She glared at me, fighting to keep the blush off her face. "Thanks, Jabber," I said. "So," he rubbed his palms together, "what's on the menu for today?" I gave him a rundown of what we had for brunch. After we ate, he and Alex opened the rest of their gifts.
"Here."
She pushed the 2 boxes over to me. "You already gave me the tie."
"Shut up and open them,"
she said. Jabber glanced at her, and they exchanged a look, making me feel as if I wasn't included in the secret. Carefully, I opened the wallet-sized box first. Inside was a monogrammed money clip.
"You like putting your name on everything, so I thought you should put it on your money,"
she said. "This is perfect. Thank you." But her attention remained on the second box. I could see the anxiety in her eyes. She was afraid I wouldn't like her gift. After giving her a reassuring smile, I opened the second box and pulled out a dress shirt. Charcoal gray with light silver pinstripes. The cuffs and collar were the same light silver, and the number 1 had been embroidered on the right cuff. The label caught my eye.
That came off the production line from the R&D you sold to Lucian concerning biotextiles,
she said.
I gave them your measurements. That's the material your research team developed.
He's already going into production? I asked, surprised how that could happen so quickly.
They're in the testing phase, but I asked him to make that for you. It was the first one off the line. I wanted you to have it, and Lucian agreed. You deserve to have the first one. That's all your hard work. All those months and months of research, everything you put into it, I
couldn't believe it. I grasped her face and kissed her. I love it. I love you. I can't believe you did this for me.
I didn't know if it'd be done in time,
she said. This is amazing. I rubbed the silky fabric between my fingers. Has it been tested?
Cross said it should be effective, but I don't suggest getting shot to find out.
No, of course not. I kissed her again, amazed to see our sacrifice turned into something tangible that I could hold and wear. Nothing coming off the line at Martin Tech was quite like this. It was incredible. Mark cleared his throat. Wait till I leave before you go all kissy face. I chuckled, pulling back from Alex. Thank you, I whispered. This is the second most amazing thing anyone has ever given me.
What's the first?
She asked. I grinned. What you let me unwrap last night. This has been James Martin's Holiday Shopping Guide, Alexis Parker. Written by G.K. Parks. Narrated by Danny Holt. Copyright 2023 by G.K. Parks. Production copyright by G.K. Parks. Thank you.